Hey, hello everyone. Thank you for coming to the Not Quite a Lecture info session for the May-June 2025 presentation window. So if it's your first time hearing of us, probably a good place to start is what are we and what are the goals of our program? The main thing that we want to do is engage high school students with some physics, chemistry, or astronomy related subjects and encourage them to study STEM in their uh, post high school studies. And we do this by having undergraduate students prepare talks and go to high schools and give these talks on some part of STEM that they're personally excited about. So what is the overall structure of how all of this works? So all starts with you. Step one, you have to come up with an idea for a talk. That's pretty straightforward, though actually it's probably the most difficult part of all of this. Step two is not quite a lecture. We will host two workshops for you where you will come, give some kind of outline of your talk, and maybe give a bit more detail about your talk on the second workshop. The not quite a lecture execs give you some feedback, and then hopefully your talk is approved. So to get your talk approved, you need to present some part of your talk at two workshops. Okay, step three is present. Um, Step three, you sign up to present during one of our presentation windows, and then we will hopefully match you up with a high school, and then you go to the high school and give your talk. So fairly straightforward. You have an idea, you write a talk, present it at two workshops, and if your talk is approved at these workshops, then you can go present it at a high school. So workshops they will run now continuously kind of throughout the year, so you can kind of get your talk approved throughout the year. But then the times when we actually present are usually reading weeks and kind of this May-June period after the second semester ends. And so I guess this particular info session is for the May and June period of 2025. Okay. Whoops. So what is workshop one? So there's you need to do two workshops, and they're a little bit different. First workshop is usually shorter. It's about 10 minutes plus 5 minutes of questions, and there you are really only required to give an outline of what you want to say. You do not have to have your full talk ready. Maybe there's still details that you are not sure about. You just have to give a general bullet point outline of what you're going to talk about, in what order, and what point you're trying to make with your talk. Yes. So it's very rare. So yes. So during the workshop one and workshop two, at one of these workshops, your talk will hopefully be approved by the execs. And of course, the execs will provide you feedback at each of these workshops on how you can improve your talk. Maybe you just aren't sure about something, and they can give you suggestions of what to think about and maybe what you could talk about there. So you once your talk is approved, then you're eligible to receive CCR credit for the fact that you have actually given your talk, made a talk. You don't have to actually give the talk at a high school to receive CCR credit, which is kind of a nice part, mostly because you're not always guaranteed to be matched up with a high school during a presentation window. Sometimes we have more speakers than high schools, sometimes not, that depends. But yes, so yeah, in rare cases, your talk might be approved during workshop one, and so you wouldn't have to do workshop two, but that is generally rare because this is just like a quick bullet point outline. And so you will get a lot of advice based on clarity, how to make your talk more focused, and that kind of thing. So an example, it could be literally this, something like this. Uh, Example of an outline. You'll say, oh, okay, I'll start off by giving a general introduction to this topic that I'm talking about. Then maybe I'll show the students equation one, and then we'll talk a little bit about equation one and show that if you look at equation one really carefully, it means this thing, and this thing has some physical interpretation. Then say, okay, maybe I'll show that equation two, explain how it relates to some everyday phenomenon that they see in real life. Um, okay, then D, show some, cool pictures of cool phenomena that are related to this thing I was talking about in real life. And okay, E, talk about how it relates to other fields and some including Mark's takeaways. Okay, this is like a very vague skeleton of something might bring to workshop one. But if you kind of replace all of this with something with some specific topic, then this is something that you could bring at workshop one, and the execs would give you some advice on maybe how to restructure this, how to improve this, kind of if this fits in the time frame or not. Okay, so this makes sense as an example. So workshop one does not have to be that detailed at all. You just have to have a general sense of what you're going to talk about. So workshop two is more focused. It's longer. It's about 20 minutes plus 5 minutes of questions, or maybe less. This is like an approximate thing. But this should either be like a substantially shortened version of practically your entire talk, where you're really trying to present it as you would present it to a classroom, or what is more likely, at workshop one, the people who are giving you advice will request you like, hey, you had bullet points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you, for workshop 3, prepare bullet point number 3 in great detail, right? And so then you would prepare that specific bullet point and try and present it almost as how you would present it at the high school that you would go to. So you would maybe by then have like it still doesn't have to be fully complete, but your explanations that you actually give for what you're saying has to be essentially what you would say there, or at least as close as you can get it. Okay, then after you do workshop 2, and if your talk gets approved after workshop 2, then you will be asked to submit a title and abstract, within the next 2 days. And then you will indicate if you're available to present kind of in the upcoming presentation window. So in our case, this will be like kind of early to mid-June would be when the next time we'll be presenting. Okay, so suppose you've done your 2 workshops, you got your talk approved, and then you said, okay, I want to present, over, this reading week, or this month of June. Then usually before kind of this presentation period, when we start sending out students, about 2 weeks before, we will send out a list of all of the talks of people who've confirmed that they can present during this time frame. We'll send the list of all these talks out to teachers. Then teachers will get back to us and say, we want this person, this person, this person, this person. We do an optimization algorithm of just looking at a spreadsheet for a very long time and figuring out how to match people most efficiently. And then hopefully a week or a week and a half before the presentation window, we'll tell you, okay, this particular teacher and this high school wants you to present. So I'll go with that. So that's kind of how matching process works. About 2 weeks before we send it out to teachers, and hopefully you're matched with a teacher about 1 week before the presentation, week or month begins. So the presentation itself, once you're matched, we'll give you, with a high school, we will give you the email of the teacher, and you will have to contact them yourself, and then you can just kind of negotiate with the teacher directly and schedule when you are available to come to their school, and so on and so forth. And maybe a few things that you should also tell them is any materials that you might need. And by materials, this can also include like, oh, I want a blackboard, or maybe I need a projector, or something like that. Or maybe you're showing a little demo and you need a power source that is convenient to place at the table where you're presenting, or maybe you need a table to put something on. Okay, and then once you've reached out to the teacher and then you've agreed on all the details, then you go to the school, give your talk, and hopefully all goes well. Commute, we do not cover commute yet, unfortunately, But if there is some difficulty with that, do still let us know, and then we'll see if we can help you in some way. Okay. Right. So that's kind of the logistics side. So there are some guidelines for the talk. So right now we are looking for talks that are about 40 minutes plus some amount of questions. Usually a period in a class, the length of a class is about I don't know, 60 to 70 minutes. So if you kind of aim for 40 minutes and then have a bunch of class discussion, that would be good. Yes, in the future we do plan on like workshopping also shorter talks. We might be interested not as part of going to high schools, but as part of some internal outreach that happens kind of in McLennan. We may need shorter talks, and if you have an idea for a talk that is shorter than 40 minutes, you're also welcome to let us know about that. But in the upcoming presentation period of May, June, we'll primarily need talks that are about 40 minutes long. Okay, the target audience are mostly grade 11 or 12 physics students. So there's sometimes grade 10 students. Sometimes the teacher might ask you to present to a physics club, and that can have anywhere from grade 9 to 12. But in general, these students are usually not familiar with most things. So, they'll know what a vector is. Maybe they'll know some basic kinematics of, some basic ballistics where you have a particle moving with constant acceleration, something like that they might know, but practically everything else they wouldn't. And so your talk has to be as self-contained as possible, where you introduce all the terms that you use and so on and so forth. And of course, you don't want to talk that completely repeats what they already learn in grade 11 and 12, so they're not kind of seeing the same thing they just had their teacher teach them last week, and it's not completely boring for them. Now, in terms of the actual topic of what you should discuss, we're very flexible with that, and it really depends completely on you. You should talk about whatever you feel like you are most excited and whatever you think you can communicate in the most clear way, and it should be a topic that you think you can get other people passionate about. And so while it says something physics or chemistry related, one thing that's always interesting, we've had a few talks about the history and philosophy of science, which would also be great. Astronomy and astrophysics are, all of that is okay. And if you're ever unsure if some idea would be a good talk or a bad talk, you can always email us or message us on the Discord, or if you know the execs, ask them in person, and that would be a good idea. Okay. In principle, if you really wanted and you have like a few ideas, you could still sign up for like a workshop 1, and just kind of come and discuss, and that would work too. Yeah, it's just that, okay, if you come up with if you come to a workshop 1 with like 20 different ideas and nothing concrete, then okay, maybe we'll ask you to come up with a particular idea to another workshop 1. But it's still a great way to kind of have some discussion and get a sense of what you might want to talk about. Okay. Yes. Yeah, so these are some examples of what you could talk about. You could talk about something you yourself have seen in a second or third year course. Maybe what I often do is, I know that there's some interesting, complicated theory, but then I find that there's like a very simple, specific example that I could discuss of that theory. And then so I discuss that specific example and say, oh, maybe there's something more going on than this specific example, but my talk talks about a specific example. Okay, exciting recent discoveries, but you can also talk about your own research, though usually that's not that good of an idea, because undergraduate research tends to be very focused, and then it would be difficult to really simplify it to a grade 11 or 12 level. But if you think you can do it, you should go for it. Yes. Some of the things that you should keep in mind is that some of these students are interested in going to university, and they might want to ask you a few questions, not just about your talk, but also about, well, how is life in university, how's life at U of T, and that kind of thing. So in some sense, you're not just going there as a messenger of spokesperson for science. You're also going there as a spokesperson for the math, physics, chemistry departments. So you, in principle, as you prepare for your talk, you should be ready to answer some common questions that people ask. So some people often ask, like, always, how much harder is university than high school, that kind of thing. And so maybe you should try and think a little bit before your talk to come up with some answers to some of these common questions. And maybe we should compile a list of such common questions that people ask. And yes, so also be prepared to talk about more of just how life is in academia and university in general. So that's really it. If you would like to contact us, here are 2 QR codes. I think everyone's on the mailing list by now, but I don't think anyone is on the Discord yet. So if you want to join the Not Quite a Lecture Discord, which might be easier than emails, do use this QR code. Okay, I guess thank you everyone for coming. Yeah. Okay. Great, and one thing I'll say is that the current plan, if you want to give a talk in kind of this June, then we will be running workshops for the next 2.5 weeks. So you have to do your workshops in the next 2.5 weeks, sign up for workshop 1, for workshop 2, and then we'll send the list of talks to teachers like first week of June, and hopefully you'll be matched by the end of that week, or early second week of June. That's approximately the time you're looking at. So yeah, and I'll send this was recorded. I'll resend this to you via email.